Welcome to Assembly Calendar. I'm your host today, Val Pettigras, and with me, representing the 99th Assembly District, which includes Putnam, Dutchess, and Westchester counties, is Assemblyman Steve Katz. How are you?
Very well, thank you very much.
Great to have you back.
Thanks, great to be here.
The last time that we got together, we spoke a little bit about your background and how you became involved in politics.
Yes.
And we're going to get to the big moment that you had of your swearing-in ceremony. I'm sure that was a very proud moment. But now that you're here in Albany, before we get to the matters of the budget and other statewide issues, let's talk a little bit about some of the initiatives that you have.
Well, true to what I promised my constituents, I'm putting forth legislation that is for changing the infrastructure, changing the ethics, and how we are being taxed. Right now, I have bills either pending or in that are going to have term limits for the entire legislature. I am co-sponsoring a term limit bill with Sandy Galiff for a term limit for the Speaker of the Assembly, the Senate, the Leader of the Senate, and all the committee leaders to a maximum of 8 years.
Well, because we've seen what happens when, power gets into the hands of a few people. They're rather reluctant to give it up.
You never give it up. That's human nature. They never give this up. We have to pry them out with a crowbar right now. That's the way it appears to me, and this is the crowbar.
And so it's not necessarily individuals, it's the system that needs to be
Oh, absolutely.
changed.
It's the system. We are supposed to be a representative republic, and I feel that if you've been in too long, you are doing nothing but staying there to protect your interests and your territory and your job, for that matter. And that is not what this entire exercise in democracy was meant to be. And so term limits for the leadership and term limits for everybody right now seems to me to be the way to go. And that is what my constituents are crying for.
And would that fall under maybe some type of ethics reform?
It's a combination of both ethics and structural. So that to me is very important, and we have the bill in. I put in a bill to repeal LIFO, last in, first out, for the teachers. I've put in a bill that's to repeal, not to correct or amend or relieve unfunded mandates. And right now I have the legal team is going through to look at precedents to determine whether or not there has actually been any adjudication, any lawsuits against unfunded mandates, because I personally feel that they are unconstitutional. And if there has not been anything done like that, my legal team is going to put forth we're going to sue the state, essentially, for the unconstitutionality of unfunded mandates.
You make me just want to wave the American flag. Because it's all about, the taxpayer and saving them the money that they need to save, because for so long government has abused them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the idea that you can have a government tell its underlings, either whether it be federal, state, and state going down to counties, here, you have to do this. I'm not going to give you any money for it, but if you don't do this, you are going to be punished. And I can't, for the life of me, imagine that being constitutional.
Well, it makes me think of being extorted.
Exactly.
Exactly. You better come up with the money somehow.
That's
we
right.
don't care how you do it.
Don't care how you do it.
But you're going to pay for it.
But you know how they're going to do it, okay? And it's going to be taxes on us. And so the bill is going to be any mandate that is given to whether it be by the state on down, has to have the provisions for financing it. Who's going to pay for this? And quite frankly, it better be them who's writing the law, okay? Because that's how I'm looking at it. So we are looking into that on two different levels right now. A bill itself and looking into a lawsuit regarding its constitutionality. That's going on right now. I am putting in a bill to unfund Planned Parenthood. I believe that is, number one, I don't want any taxpayer to pay for abortions. Okay? If the Roe v. Wade is the law of the land, but there's no reason that someone who is dead set against abortions should have to have that as part of their tax burden. So I have a bill in to unfund Planned Parenthood. My jewel is initiative and referendum. the ability for the people in our state to be able to put forth a bill for the rest of the people of the state to vote on that we know the legislature is never going to take up, such as term limits. Now, this is a bill that was passed already in the Senate almost 10 years ago, but has yet to see the light of day in the Assembly.
So it's just been held up in committee the whole time?
Held up in committee the entire time, with the argument that this has got to be a constitutional change. And so my bill is going to reflect that. We want initiative and referendum. We, the people, want initiative and referendum. So I have a bill in for that. I have a bill that's going to be going in where in order to vote, you have to have a government-issued picture ID card. Just like you have to when you're going on an airplane, just like you do if they don't know you and you're given a credit card for a payment. This is one of the requirements for our democracy. I have seen so much corruption from the fact that people can just walk up, say who they are, whether or not they may be someone who's been dead for 10 years but is still on the election roll. How can you do that? How can anyone think that you cannot have an ID, that is some infringement on your rights? That there is no infringement. Show them your ID card, and you're in. That is a bill that I have in right now. That's the first load.
Well, you have been a busy man.
Well, I made promises to myself and my constituents that I have every intention of putting forth and following through on. And
well,
that's the start.
Riding on this wave of energy, we are going to take a look at Assemblyman Katz's swearing-in ceremony. I'm sure a very proud moment for he and his family.
Now representing the 99th Assembly District, Mr. Stephen Katz. Steve has dedicated his life to his veterinarian practice. Holding the Bible for Steve today is his wife, Nicole, and his 3 children, Sydney, Skylar, and Shira. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Assemblyman Steve Katz.
I, Steve Katz.
I, Steve Katz.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of New York.
And the Constitution of the State of New York.
And will faithfully discharge the duties of.
And will faithfully discharge the duties of.
The office of Member of Assembly.
The office of Member of the Assembly.
Of the State of New York.
Of the State of New York.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And we see that you mean business when, you're not just here to assimilate into the culture that we've come to know. You really want to see things get done.
I want to see things get done. I'm here for no other reason than to help to get things done.
And part of that process is that big elephant in the room, and that would be
Sheldon Silver. That's the big elephant in the room right now.
Well, I was going to say the budget and the budget process because, of course, those things go hand in hand, but Governor Cuomo seems like he's going to go full speed ahead with this situation with the budget, and that he's not going to slow down or, I guess, back off from getting the people's work done.
I agree with you on that, and I'm happy that there is at least some attempt to change direction. My concern right now is that he's doing not a whole lot more than picking the low-hanging fruit, such as libraries and the like. He has yet to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room is the pensions, the state workers' pensions, and their subsequent health care as once they are pensioners.
He has, however, talked about perhaps capping the salaries of school superintendents, and as we know, many schools have more than one superintendent, or they have assistant superintendents. So he has maybe tackled it from another angle, at least to start out.
I certainly applaud, at this point, capping anything right now,
Sure.
and that's great. But he's nibbling around the edges. Okay? You're looking at Wisconsin, what the crux of the matter is. You're looking at that move to other states. It is my concern right now that our governor is going to be overtaken by events right now, and I don't want to see him behind the curve. That's what we're looking at, and that is my concern. He should be coming out very forthrightly about looking at the situation we have with the pensions and with the OPEB, the other post-employment benefits, which is the health care.
Early in January, the governor gives his annual State of the State to talk about what he hopes to see happen for New York, as well as the condition that we're in right now. Let's listen to his very sobering message.
Another new year at the state capitol, bringing with it plenty of new faces.
For the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York.
And legislative leaders looking for cooperation in a diverse House.
Whether it's Manhattan or Montauk or Binghamton or Buffalo, if we're helping each other, that's the message that our constituents are looking for across this state. I think we have an opportunity to take our state to a level that's never been before.
New Governor Andrew Cuomo gave his first annual State of the State message.
What is the state of the state? This is a time of crisis for our state, a time when we must transform our government to once again become the progressive capital of the nation.
The new governor utilized a number of visuals to graphically display what's wrong with state government.
We just heard the governor's speech. It was a wonderful speech. It certainly itemized the things that are important to me. I was hired to do just those things. We want economic development badly. We want tax relief, and we certainly want to bring back honesty and integrity to Albany. I will be happy to work with the governor. It makes no difference to me, the party affiliation. If he's truly interested in this level of reform, he's got a friend in Stephen Katz.
The governor now prepares his first ever budget proposal.
And of course, we came to see that pass as well. That was probably at the beginning of February.
Yes.
And he had a lot of things to say about that. One of the points that he made was that we were number 50 for economic development and job growth, which I found shocking because we were dead last.
Yep, I've known that for a while. My concern relative to the budget and where Governor Cuomo was, what he has said is that essentially he said we've cut as much as we can cut out of the budget, and now we're going to have to grow our way out of this deficit. That is unrealistic, unfortunately, because we really, really need to address much further the needs of both small and large businesses to both stay in business here and to bring them in, and we will not do that until we have much further deregulation, kill half of the regulations. I was astonished to find out that ARC, which is nationwide, but within our state, in Putnam County, which takes care of 650 people with multiple different types of disabilities, they have to run 12 different audits per year for 12 different agencies, both federal and state. Now, if that is not a waste of time, money, personnel, and added regulation that is unnecessary, you find me something else. 12 audits a year.
We're out of time, but we want to hear more about what you have to say on that issue as well as so many others. We do have time to let you out there know how to reach your representative. Please contact Assemblyman Katz at 2392 Route 6, Brewster, 10509, or give him a call at 845-279-5301. And of course, there's his email at the bottom of the screen should you choose to contact him that way. It has been a pleasure having you on the show. I look forward to many more.
Thank
and
you.
we hope that you join us next time on Assembly Calendar.